New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Hello, and welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. I am coming to you from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I am Robin Rice Olmsted.
I'm coming to you from Brisbane, Queensland, and my name is Dr. Natasha Wilson, and I'm so happy to be with you today.
So happy in this world where today it's Thursday afternoon where I am, and Friday morning when you are. Oh, Friday morning. I love Fridays. You know, people always say, like, well, does it even matter anymore? Like during COVID, we got so stuck in, the time didn't matter. But I love Fridays and weekends. It doesn't matter that I don't have a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday.
No, it just carries a different energy. It's almost like there's a collective permission, not that we need it, but some of us do. But it's like there's this collective permission to rest, or at minimum not work, even though some of us work. But
rest, and that something good is going to happen, something fun, like it's something not in the norm. I don't know. Anyway, but that's what we talk about here on Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Metaphysically, things that aren't always in the norm, and what that looks like. And today we are talking about stereotypes, to be or not to be. What is metaphysical? What does that look like? What does spiritual look like? All of those topics that, who decides what counts as spiritual and what doesn't. And we're going to break that down. And I don't know if you've ever had anyone tell you you're not this enough or not that enough. I have. But that we'll get into that.
A Black woman.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's a different show. Me too. And I can count the number of times where people have told me, you're not Black enough, or you're not this enough, or you're not that enough. It's like, all right. Yeah. But, spiritual is kind of different because, like, everybody has this version of spiritual. But we'll get into it. Before that, tell me about your crazy week.
Yeah, it was just a week that was like, I have school-age children, right? So I went to this conference this past weekend. Oh my God. And they booked this room for me at this, they booked this villa for me. So I get there. Okay. So this is a vacation villa, right? There was a passcode I needed to remember for the gate, a passcode I needed to remember for the building, a little beep thingy that with a code that I had to use to get to the parking area. And then there were actual physical keys for the patio and the door.
So it's a little stressful.
So I was like, what kind of holiday villa wants you to remember 4 to 5 new things just to be there? Not to mention, whenever I ordered, Uber Eats or something, they could never find me because it was a maze. I was like, y'all, we got to do better. I need to teach y'all this is Australia. I expect better for a holiday villa. I expect better. Anyways, so, and then on the way back, I was in traffic going up, traffic coming back because there was a marathon on the day I was leaving. So certain roads were closed. And then I get a call, like my daughter's unwell. So then in the car, in the traffic, I'm on the phone with the GP or the PCP, and he's saying like her symptoms are consistent with appendicitis. Take her to the hospital.
Welcome home.
Oh God, she didn't have appendicitis, which is, God, but she does have to, she's home all week. And then Macy started having the same symptoms on yesterday. So I just called the doctor up again. I was like, look, we're just going to need a medical certificate for the rest of the week. And Lexi's sad because she can't perform in the first 2 dance competitions.
Oh my goodness. So much drama around these dance competitions.
I know. Oh, I don't know. I can't even give you the beginning of the drama. How was your week?
It was good. It was good. It's just, I'm tired of saying that it's busy. I feel like everybody's busy, and, I'm not any different than anybody else. But it's good. Again, like I said last week, I feel like I'm getting clearer on what's mine to do. And even if I add more things to what I'm doing, which isn't advisable by most, but there are things I'm passionate about and things I want to do. So I feel really good about that.
Good. That's good.
So yeah, good week. Good week. So today we're going to be talking about what's spiritual, and what better time to do our card pull of the week, because how woo-woo and spiritual is that? So this is our segment where we pull a card to see what it's telling us about our week, or what we need to take into our next week, or what should be guiding us. And I decided to switch it up today. I get tired of my cards, and I keep looking at new ones, and then I don't buy them, and then I'm mad when it comes to Thursday because I'm like, damn it, I should have bought new cards. But so I'm going to go to medicine cards today. We're going to see what animal is being called forth and what it holds for us.
Nice.
So let's see.
While you do that, I'm going to do what I forgot to do this morning. So you shuffle. I'm going to do that and tell you to stop.
Okay.
So it's stop.
Okay.
Get ready with Dr. Natasha. I got to put on face cream.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the family, everyone. Here where you're all a part of our morning or afternoon or evening. So the card I pulled was grouse, which is so interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you asked me to pick an animal, it would take me a very long time to think of that one.
A grouse.
Yeah. I mean, that's not something you see much of here, anyway. Or maybe you do, and I just don't know. But let's see. So it says, grouse of the sacred spiral, leading us on to reach the everlasting heights where we can live as one. And grouse represents the sacred spiral. And it says, grouse once flocked in abundance throughout North America. But now, even on the plains where these birds were so plentiful, there is an absence of them. Many Plains Indian tribes dance the grouse dance to honor these birds. The movement of dance follows a spiral, which is the ancient symbol of birth and rebirth, the ribbed tunnel of eternal return. The sacred spiral is also one of the oldest known symbols for personal power. When you think of grouse medicine, visualize a whirlpool or even a tornado, for the sacred spiral will take you to the center. The spiral is a metaphor for personal vision and enlightenment. Wow. Many initiates on vision quests paint spirals on their body and believe that the great mystery will favor them with visions of power and purpose because of this symbol. I was going to stop reading, but I think this one's for you. The whirling dervishes of certain Sufi orders are masters of the spiral dance and can transcend to higher states of awareness through the repetition of this sacred movement. It's said that dervishes can travel to the center of the spiral and return with any magical power they choose. In the dervish state, one enters the great silence and has direct communication with the creator by spinning clockwise or counterclockwise. The dervish draws or replaces specific energies. Sufi dancing is a system which connects one with the divine source through ritual treatment of motion.
Yes.
If you have grouse medicine in your cards today, undertake a meditation on the various qualities of movement within your world. Begin by visualizing the sun as one member of a huge group of stars swirling in the massive pinwheel shape of the Milky Way. Then draw yourself out of this pinwheel of light and into the spiraling of your own DNA's double helix, an arrangement similar to a rope ladder coiled like a corkscrew. Wow. Analyze the way you move through your world. How do you picture yourself in the act of locomotion? What kind of reaction do you create with the energy you send into the universe? What words would you use to describe the way you move through both the material and spiritual worlds? In the final analysis, is your movement compatible with your greatest desires and goals? Okay.
No, I really do love it. It made me think of two things in particular. Of course, my time whirling with the dervishes, and the thought at one point that I was like, I'm going to Turkey, because I had that really powerful experience in the Sufi tradition with the whirling dervishes, and the description of how that experience felt will never leave my body. It really was like, I remember everyone in that room, as there's a technique to it, of course, so people don't just get dizzy and fall. So doing that technique and just do it, I remember everyone in that room, they literally just turned into points of light.
Right.
It was a really powerful experience I will just never forget. And then when I finally stopped, because nobody told us when to stop, I just kept going and going. It was such a profound experience. And then when I stopped, there was this it was a holy silence, almost like I literally met, if source were outside of me, which it is, it's outside of me, it's in me, I'm in it, and it's in it. But if I could touch source, that is how still I felt at the end of that experience. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, and I think, when you talk about it and just the card and all of that, I mean, it just seems, it reminds me of when you're really in that place where you're lost in what's happening, and nothing's happening but what's happening. You know what I mean? It's just that motion and that connection, that divine connection, and really being, intentional about being connected to it in all that we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also made me think about Vision Quest, because I've been on a Vision Quest, which was kind of funny because I cheated on my Vision Quest.
Okay, how do you cheat on a Vision Quest? Okay, do tell.
Well, first we were on this island, this island in northern Maine, right? Let's take a ferry to get there and all that stuff. So we're on this island, and we created a sacred women's council and there was the elders, and then they sent us off into the forest. They told us what to do. We encountered bears. We were not supposed to take food. We were no map. We're just supposed to like let our intuition guide us as we, and it was big, right? So we're supposed to take a phone, no food, just water, and it was wet and cold, like the two sensory conditions that I hate the most. So I packed almonds and I took my phone because I didn't want to be lost in the dark. So,
oh my God, that's so funny. That's so you.
I totally cheated, but I still had an amazing experience. Like, I remember, like, I got to this place where there's this waterfall, but for whatever time of the day, the tide was out. And so it was just no water and it was quiet. Like, I mean, not even an insect. It was so, I was like, this is.
So you were by yourself?
Like, there were several women, but we went off in different directions.
Yeah,
right?
You were like walking with somebody.
No, I wasn't walking with anyone. We were all walking alone. And the whole thing is, even if we came across each other on the path, like we were supposed to be silent anyways. So, but the path went in so many different directions. And I remember I was just like, I'm here, I'm present, no bears, we're good. Let me be on this vision quest. And then if I start feeling like I'm getting lost, girl, I forgot. I had to wear these rain pants, right? Because of the weather. You know, they did tell us to wear certain things. My rain pants ripped. So when it started raining, I literally tried to make this little tent from my rain pants.
Oh God, I could see you with the little tent and almonds in your hand. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I need to make my way back, you know?
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, that sounds like it should be in a book of spiritual times by Joshua Wilson.
No, it's funny that this is our topic though, right? Because like I remember every person that I would pass, not that I would pass lots of people because the island was really big, but like everybody was so solemn. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, they said we couldn't talk. They didn't say we couldn't say, like.
That's funny. That's such a perfect example.
Yeah. Like everybody's solemn and nobody took food, right? But my experience was just as spiritual, right? Because I'm not about to be starving on some island with bears, you know? No. And so I was happy every time I saw somebody's face. I was like,
right. Well, that reminds me of one time we were doing this workshop, and you know they were giving out the rules, the general rules about be confidential, blah 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 blah. You know, and they were like, any other rules, and I was like, yeah, don't judge my joy. You know, like I said, I may look a certain way, it doesn't mean anything. Just don't judge. You know. But that's what it's like. It's like you can tell somebody, you know, it's a silent retreat. And like you said, okay, that's all good. That doesn't mean like, you know.
Yeah. But it was so funny because everybody was like that. And then I remember questioning myself, should I be like more?
Am I doing it right?
I was like, screw that. Like, I'm happy to see people. I didn't see a bear. I saw a person.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Well, when we come back, we are going to dive into that and hear, I'm sure, more fun stories when we decide and we talk about, you know, why does spirituality have to look one way, and who decides that? And, you know, why it doesn't mean you're enlightened if you're only drinking the green juice and all those good things. So we're going to dive into that when we get back right here on New Thought Media Network.
Imagine a gathering where inspiration becomes action, where spiritual vision becomes a shared future, and where the power of new thought comes alive in community. Join us for New Thought in the Desert 2026, Living the Power of New Thought. We are getting together September 17th through the 20th in Las Vegas. Begin by putting love into action through sacred service. Then experience inspiring speakers and spiritual leaders from Unity, Centers for Spiritual Living, Agape, and beyond, along with powerful conversations, interactive experiences, and a collaborative vision for the future of our movement.
I focus on harmony. How do I live into that?
Celebrate with Faith Rivera in concert. Celebrate, communicate, connect. Together we are living the power of new thought. Join us in Las Vegas. Visit lasvegascsl.org to learn more and register today.
The Heal Your Life Workshop Leader and Life Coach. The Heal Your Life Workshop Leader and Life Coach Certification Training, approved personally by Louise Hay, is coming to San Diego. Facilitated by expert trainers Anna Milkick and Christy Dixon. This 3-month training includes multiple sessions on Zoom and 10 days in beautiful San Diego. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform their lives.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls. It's more than practical. Here come the girls. Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Welcome back to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. We're so happy you're here. I'm Robin Rice Olmsted.
I'm Dr. Natasha Wilson, uncaffeinated. Uncaffeinated. I'm uncaffeinated.
And we're here today talking about to be or not to be. This is where spirituality meets real life, really, just talking about what does it really mean to be spiritual, from crystals to cussing to cocktails to myths about meditation and all the cosmic comedy of trying to look enlightened and what does that mean? Yeah. So let's get into it and let's just see what happens.
Yeah. I have had no shortage of people being really surprised that I am a deeply contemplative person. No shortage. And I guess because I am not a spiritual materialist, I guess is what you call it. Right? Like I don't don the accoutrement that's like, oh, that person got a connection with the divine, right? Like, so people are usually really shocked to learn that I have a really deep, rich inner life in general, but definitely deeply spiritually contemplative life.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, especially with the technical part of who you are, like being Dr. Natasha and degrees here and degrees there. I could see where people would have their own stereotype of what that is, as opposed to, what can be. I think for me, the thing that comes to mind most is like the most ridiculous kind of thing that anybody's ever assumed because I'm spiritual is like when people find out that I'm spiritual, they start apologizing for swearing and things. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Or they say like, oh, like if we're at the center, and somebody says something that they think is off color like that, they're like, oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that here. It's like, why not? So I mean, I think it's so. What's the most? Can you think of anything in specific that someone's assumed about you because you were spiritual?
Yeah, that I don't drink. That I'm not someone who would be covered in tattoos on purpose, right? That didn't happen as a result of drinking. They're an expression of art and spirituality. Yeah, like even like when I would teach dance or I would go to dance festivals, people would be so like the way that I even talked about dance, like they'd be like, oh, we never thought about dance as prayer or, dance as a physical expression of prayer. And they're just like, we just didn't read you that way. Right. Because I think there is this sort of like, and I know, and I'm not going to say any names because that's not what this show is about at all. But I have been with people who wear the prayer beads and, all the crystals. And look, I love a good crystal. You can see the back of I love a good crystal. But then they come home and they're like really like unkind people, So yeah, definitely. I don't know what the most or the worst surprise or whatever was. Oh, as I told you, I've been dating, right? And I had a date, and this guy says he was spiritual. And what I think he really meant was that he was religious. And when I told him that, oh no, I'm enrolling in divinity school, and I finally feel like I can do that as a full person. Like I don't have to like not be a woman or not be gay or not be whatever. I can just be all of who I am. And yeah, he just started quoting things from the Bible. And then he was surprised when I knew the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, which is the language that Jesus spoke.
Right.
It was like, Abush Tabashmaya. And I said, that means, dear Mother, Father, God of all that is. Not our Father. Never saw him again.
Well, it's true. I mean, those kind of things freak people out. I remember a long, long time ago when I too had a date with someone that was, turned out to be religious as opposed to spiritual.
Mm.
But that's a whole nother show because he actually, I finally did. By the time we got past the chips and guacamole, I realized that he thought he was Jesus. So we had that conversation.
Oh my God, that would be the funnest date ever. I would have so much fun on it.
I came home. I told my sister, I go, oh my God, I had nachos with Jesus. It was crazy. Okay,
girl, I love it. Now that's a spiritual experience. Okay.
Oh my God, it was so interesting. But anyway, so let's talk about it.
Sorry, wait.
God, what?
Okay. Your date was Jesus. Mine was quoting passages from the Bible from Jesus, and then I just like shut that shit down by praying in Jesus' original language.
This is good. Well, once I intuited or got it, whatever, that because he didn't want to tell me. that he thought he was Jesus. He just kept going,
He
well,
wanted you to guess.
I don't know, but I guess you don't reveal that on the first date, I don't know. And so he was being very cryptic, but I got it. That's what he thought he was. And then I was like, I started asking him questions like,
can you
so
make
why
this
is
wine?
there so much turmoil in the world? But I started asking him questions like that. I was like, if I'm having drinks, margaritas with Jesus, let's get to it. Let's really figure this shit out. So yeah, so the date went on from there. Yeah.
I love it. I know. I love that you went straight to the deep questions about like human suffering. I literally would have had a glass of water and be like, can you turn this to wine? Turn this to wine right now. Right now.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
Need some fish. Can you bring some fish? Like, I love fish and chips, and turn that into wine. Like, if I'm gonna be on a date with Jesus, I want some magic, goddammit. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So let's just talk about what is spiritual. Like, what are the stereotypes we know about spiritual? Like I think you naturally named some. I mean, like people who walk around with their prayer beads on and meditating at dawn, and you've got to burn incense and sage things, and speak soft and lovingly at all times, and like you said, very introspective.
I call it spiritual materialism, and often because I've lived with it in my life, it's also often a lot of spiritual bypassing, And I'm not saying that like I've never done that. I remember there was a time that I would meditate because I didn't want to be having the feelings that I was having. So I was trying to spiritual bypass, So yeah, I think, yeah, all that stuff, right? Also, people wouldn't guess that someone very spiritual could get hooked into getting a Botox lip flip. I'm no less spiritual.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So that's a stereotype, is that if you're spiritual, well, I don't want to use this word. If you're spiritual, you don't have any interest in the material world or any of the, modern conveniences that one might have access to.
Yeah.
Because you should just be able to do that by reading Rumi and Eckhart Tolle and, doing yoga.
Probably don't need face cream either. Probably don't need face cream. Probably eat straight from your garden. I mean, all of those are sort of like this. And look, I'm not saying that people who live and when I say spiritual, I just mean people who live a very contemplative life. When I think about, because, I wrote a whole doctoral dissertation, and a big part of it was on post-traumatic growth. And in order to really talk about post-traumatic growth, we have to talk about spirituality, because that is usually a key component of people being able to move out of PTSD into PTG, right? Post-traumatic growth. And so the literature says that spirituality is, that which gives us a sense of meaning and maybe a sense of purpose. So yeah, people can like wear all the whatever they need to wear and dress however and still be spiritual. I think the thing is the shock that people feel when people like you or me come into a space, and for whatever reason we're read a certain way. And I'm not gonna lie, now that I have my tattoos, I don't know what people think. I don't know if they think I'm a biker. I don't know what they think. Like,
yeah.
Like the religious date man, he was like, why are you marking up God's precious vessel? Or the girl something he said. I said, because I am God's precious vessel. And God says, Natasha, do what you want with that precious vessel.
Oh my God, I would have loved to have been on that date. That's so funny.
It was. It really was. I really wanted to be on your date with Jesus.
Yeah, I would love to go on that date again now, I mean, because what it was, when I went on it 25 years ago or whenever it was, as opposed to now, like I can only imagine the fun I could have. But
Oh my
anyway.
God.
So yeah, so there's just so many stereotypes, about what spirituality is, and being like, us spiritual folks are endlessly patient and kind and forgiving and zen, and that's not always true. For the record,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But there's also stereotypes about what's not spiritual, right? Like,
And I think that's what we were talking about. Yeah.
yeah, like swearing, and yeah, like you said, enjoying luxury and comfort and money and things that you just want to do that make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even when we think about the Lord's Prayer, not that I'm saying that's my go-to prayer. It's not. It's just the one that I happened to learn in Aramaic when I was at the Chaplaincy Institute of Maine, and I loved it. But the whole thing was about bridging the connection, or knowing that there is no disconnect between the physical world and the spiritual world, right? Like, and living that. And that's also when I was at the Chaplaincy Institute of Maine that I really learned that even myself, I was engaging in spiritual bypass. And but that spiritual materialism, I think that is that thing right there, because it's so much about like life and spirituality in like capitalist terms, right? So it's like you have to have this and you have to have that, and you need to buy this and you need to wear that, which is, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I've given up. I don't carry those, of course, stereotypes anymore, but I remember when I did.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily about us, because we're so enlightened. But I mean, just those things. Like, even I remember one time watching this TV show. I don't remember what it was, but I knew they were doing a takeoff on Reverend Michael, and they had this scene with Reverend Michael being the almighty guru person, and people being spiritual, and even just the things we see portrayed as a representation of spiritual.
Yeah. And then when we find out, like, these people, this is what I mean. This is why it's like whatever the stereotype is or whatever. And then we get shocked when we find out, like, that person has another family or is a cheater or so, like, it's because, again, it's like this thing of spiritual is somehow separated from being a human in a physical body, right? Being spiritual at the end of the day is about what kind of choices do you make? How are you living on the planet? How are you treating people? What do you do when no one is looking? You know what I mean? But yeah, I've seen tons of that, and I've seen tons of people get truly shocked when they learn that all that stuff, the dress, the mannerisms, the quiet, the whatever, right? When that person doesn't always live that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I don't really know when the shift happened, but I'm sure somewhere in my spiritual lineage growth, there was a day when I probably thought, well, that's not right. That's not spiritual. Mm-hmm. And I think until we shift into this place of trusting that everything is spiritual. I mean, certainly we could judge, people who are unkind or, what's the word I want? unloving. I don't know, but you know what I mean. As being not spiritual. I mean, that just reminds me of religion, though. It reminds me of like, that's mighty Christian of you, you know, in the stereotype of loving and how that is.
Yeah. No, I yeah, I hear you. I actually find myself more suspect when someone rocks up and they're like covered in crystals and like prayer beads and um you know, I tell you, like, I don't know why, but the Jehovah's Witnesses, they love coming to my house. Like, even though all year round, one, we keep our Christmas tree up. We literally have a room we call the Christmas tree room in my house, and we keep the Christmas tree up all year. So that's number one. Number two, on my front door is a 3D alphaba, you know, the witch alphaba from Wicked.
Yeah.
Full on green face, little pointy hat, everything, and 3D image on my front door. And then we have Uncle Fester. When you press his finger, he goes, right? And for some reason, the Jehovah's Witness, I think they just trying to save my soul so bad. But it's like, you know, they come over and they have their, you know, the women always have these dresses on, and you know, here I am. I'm like, I bare my arms. They have on these dresses with these little things that cover the shoulders up to the neck. And I come to the door with my 3D alphabet. And then they, you know, hand me a pamphlet with a white Jesus. I'm like, I remember telling one of them one time, I was like, look, if y'all can't be honest, at least about how Jesus might have looked, how can I trust you with questions about my soul? These people, and they still come. And Macy,
They like that more. It becomes more of a challenge. I swear to you, they love a challenge. So the more you engage, even if you think you're saying something that will turn them off, the deeper they dive in. That's my experience. I hate to say they, but that's my experience.
girl, when Macy first started learning to answer the door, so let me just explain my child. She thinks clothes are optional, okay? She just thinks clothes are optional, okay? She's 8. She thinks clothes are optional. She's been that way since she was a child. I'll never forget one Easter, we did an Easter egg hunt in the yard, and Macy was standing on one of these big rocks in the garden, and just out of nowhere, just started unzipping her thing. And we're like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be looking for Easter eggs. And she was like, no. I love my child. I just love her so much. But one day we had a Jehovah's Witness situation. And like I said, for my child, clothing is optional. And when it's just us, it's fine. I don't care. She can be as free as she wants to be because it's just us girls in the house. So the Jehovah's Witness came to the door and there's Macy in her underwear. Like, they're like, where's your mom? I was like, my mom's in her office. And they're like, can you tell her we're here to talk to her about God? And Macy goes, we don't believe in God. Goodbye.
And did they go away? But they came back.
They come back at least every 2 months.
Yeah.
But it's like a whole new rotation. It's not the same ones. So they probably think this house is a house of heathens that really need saving.
Yeah, probably.
But it's spiritual. I keep my grandma's ashes in my singing bowl. How spiritual is that?
It's good, but I'm telling you, I really do think in their prep meetings or whatever, this is what gets them excited. Like if somebody gives them a thing, they find a way to go, that's okay. We can still save you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember my mom thought when they came to the door, she was like, I got this one. And she told them, I'm Buddhist and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, it's all right. You can still be saved. And they're like, oh, crap. You know, so it's just, I think they just love that.
I do too. But Macy, I was pretty certain that after Macy, they wouldn't come back. You know, here's this little white child, blonde hair all over the place, in her underwear. Like, we don't believe in God. Bye.
That's funny. That's funny. So I think, I also think there's a midpoint to what we were saying though about like, the people with the crystals and the beads and the thing. And I think some of that sometimes is a point in between of exploration somehow.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to live, you're learning to live into whatever it is that you believe or whatever works for you or explore, and I think that's really the key in a way is that, people come into their own spirituality when they stop performing the role and start trusting like their lived experience, and it's a shift. It's a shift of looking spiritual to being awake inside of your own life. And I think that's what's important. If we had to say one thing, it's like, are you awake and aware to who you are? And that means if you have a cocktail, if you cuss and rage and rant and all those things, is it authentic to your spiritual God, love, Buddha, Atman presence within you? Are you being that you've come to be? And let me tell you, for the record, I can be love with the best of them with a margarita in my hand. It has nothing to do with my beverage. It has to do with who I am.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, I feel like there's a place for, again, if I just look at the definition of spirituality from the literature, right? Spirituality is what gives you a sense of meaning and sometimes a sense of purpose, right? So for me, I find meaning in almost everything. I actually sometimes have the opposite problem, right? Like sometimes maybe things don't mean anything, but to me, I'm like, oh, this is a feather, it means something. So I find meaning in a lot of things. And that looks like so many different things. And I think it's great for people to explore and to be in that in-between space. And and are we living our lives in a way that feels meaningful? And do we feel like we're living it on purpose?
Right.
And so, yes, I think what I was going to say, there is a place, right? Like to take care of my body. Not that I'm doing it perfect, but it's like a form of like honoring that this is also a part of the divine getting to know itself as me. I'm grateful for this body. So I am going to my behavior. It makes me think about the 5 agreements, right? And the very first agreement is, well, it's be impeccable with your word, but what it really means, right, in Toltec wisdom is don't use the power of thinking, speech, or behavior against yourself. So like I can enjoy a cocktail, but 5 cocktails, and I'm not saying that that's not spiritual. I think that that's letting us know that something is wanting love and attention in our lives.
Well, you're also losing yourself. Like when we're 5 cocktails down, are we able to be in that same centered space?
No, we are below consciousness at that point.
So and we're not judging. It's just that it's a different, or I'm not judging. It's just a different thing, And I think I think it's so important that one redefines spirituality on their own terms in a way, instead of adopting some prepackaged version of like, oh, you've got to be vegan and you've got to, meditate, for hours or whatever it is. And really just be with what actually connects you. What makes you feel alive, not performative, but alive within your spirit, your soul.
Again,
what matters to you. Yeah.
I go back to that basic definition, which I think leaves it very broad, right? What gives you meaning and perhaps a sense of purpose? What gives you meaning? What gives you meaning? And if that's sort of the operational definition of spirituality, then it broadens it. It can include like, I had a friend send me this image, like she's like into Pinterest, and it was this bathtub that was made out of like a big amethyst crystal. Oh my God, I want that bathtub, right? Not because, just because it was beautiful, right? But then again, like for me, beauty is a spiritual principle. Like that, like the way I experience divine is through beauty, just through beauty. So yeah, sure, wear your crystals, meditate 15 hours, and then also when you're done, make sure, right, like you're looking at how you move through the world and with other people. Because it's easy to meditate on a cushion. It's hard to take, like Thich Nhat Hanh would say, it's about when you get off the mat, right? You can be zen and sit and wrestle with your mind and whatever and get quiet and get still. But it's like what you do when you get up from that cushion.
Right.
And yes, I do keep my grandma's ashes in a crystal singing bowl.
That's okay. I mean, you know, again, like you said, it's what brings you joy, what's beautiful to you. You know, you didn't do it because it was the thing to do. And I think go ahead. No,
No,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, like, it also honors like my grandma's relationship with me. I cannot tell you the number of times that that woman has said to me in one way or another, baby, you belong to us, but I don't know where to come from. I cannot tell you how many times and how many different ways she has said that to me. I belong to her, but she don't know where I come from. And to me, having her ashes in my singing bowl would be exactly what she expected me to do. So what she didn't expect me to do was give away my inheritance that she gave me. So, but I did do that.
There you go. You didn't live into the stereotype. And I think, you know, as we close out the show, I think looking at this stereotype, we just have to think about, like, you know, the stereotype says, you know, when you're spiritual, you only show your light. But authentic, true spirituality, you know, says that your shadow part is part of your wholeness. You know,
Amen.
whatever makes you you is part of your wholeness. And that coming into your own really means that you stop curating that spiritual image and you start integrating your actual inner life, you know, things that make you the true you. And to that means I'm going to leave you with a quote from Maya Angelou. That
Before you read the quote, because the quote is so sweet, I just got to share one grandma thing, okay?
okay,
And it's in
Go.
line with what is spiritual, right? Some people would say my grandma wasn't spiritual because my grandma used to give these queer house parties, but that was so spiritual back in the day because queer people needed a place to go, right? And she did that. Not only that, my grandma had like an arsenal of guns because she was very, very serious that no one was ever going to mess with her children, her money, and either her man or her woman. Okay. And so she gave me her guns to keep the fire alive. I turned them into the police, and I keep the fire alive by keeping her ashes in the crystal singing bowl. Now, the beautiful Maya Angelou quote.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. Being true to who you are. When it's authentic, it's true. If you're doing it because it's the thing to do, it's probably not really where you are. So here's the Maya Angelou quote. We'll leave you with this for the weekend. I mean, for the week and the weekend. And just take this out into the world. If you're always trying to be normal, you'll never know how amazing you can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't be normal. Don't live into a stereotype. Be you. The world needs you. And so do we. We're so happy you're here. Please come next week and we'll see you then.
Yes,
bye, everybody.
The Heal Your Life Workshop Leader and Life Coach Certification Training, approved personally by Louise Hay, is coming to San Diego. Facilitated by expert trainers Anna Milkick and Christy Dixon. This 3-month training includes multiple sessions on Zoom and 10 days in beautiful San Diego. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform their lives.